Hogstye.
Hello, and welcome to the show. It is the Hogsty. I didn't think I'd be here today. We had a Halloween party at the office going on. It's 2 days out from Halloween, but we just did our party on Wednesday
Did you
because
have
no
a
one's.
provocative costume at the Halloween party?
I always dress like a sexy pirate, Steve. It's my go-to look.
I thought it was going to be Cinderella or something.
No. I had the choice between my normal pirate costume that I always have in my house, or I could have borrowed my mom's belly dancer costume, and I think I made the right choice in going pirate.
Oh no,
It would
belly
have been,
dancer all the way. Belly dancer all the way.
well, given you, it would have been more belly than dancer, is the thing.
Absolutely true. My mom weighs 100 pounds and has a bell dancer costume that she's worn far too many times.
I think your belly alone would weigh 100 pounds, is what I think.
It's down to 95. Thank you. I've been seeing a dietitian.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. But welcome to the show, everybody. Happy Halloween. It's one of my top three holidays, so it's in up there. And
That
we
balances out mine. I enjoy passing candy out to the kids,
sure.
but I don't enjoy all the Halloween stuff. As you might suggest, introverts don't like Halloween parties.
That's fair. And someone like me, suddenly we had a Halloween party. I'm like, all right, I guess I'm just gonna MC this. Like, let me just take over your Halloween party right now, new company that I work for.
I
I'll do
Yeah,
like
it.
no, that's not going to happen with me.
I like Halloween, but right now it was Thanksgiving is my number one holiday
Well,
of the year.
Thanksgiving's my one seed. I agree with
Yes,
that.
absolutely.
That's always been
Oh,
my one
Christmas
seed.
is mine by far.
Yeah.
I mean, that doesn't apply to you so much, Alex, but
No,
Christmas is
but
mine by far.
see, my thing with Thanksgiving has always been it's Christmas without the materialism. There's no like giving of gifts. It's just spend time with your family and eat food, which are my two favorite things.
Yeah, I mean, eating food's probably number one, I would guess, but
No,
um,
no, spending time with family would be
it
number
w- it
one.
was it was a joke.
Yes. Anyway, so we had
Christmas is
a
just more meaningful to me. That's all.
and that's fine. There's nothing wrong with it being Christmas. I just hate Hallmark Christmas movies. Those lose points
It's the
for me.
day of our Lord.
Your Lord.
That's why I said hour.
Yeah.
It's ours.
Your
That's why I
guys.
said hour.
Yes.
Yours and mine.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yes.
Of 30 two-thirds. Two-thirds of Lord.
Well, you believe Jesus was a person. You just didn't believe what he said he was. I mean,
I'm not even I don't even buy that he was real
of
at
course,
this
you're not
point.
really religiously Jewish either, are you?
No. I'm what but I am
I meant in religious Judaism, they believe that Jesus Christ was a figure. They just didn't believe Jesus Christ was the Son of God.
actually it
Correct.
would that's less true. It's the more agnostic Jews who are like, yeah, we'll let you pretend he was real.
And I
It, the
think there's a lot of evidence that there was an historical Jesus, by the way, just for the
yeah.
record.
The ancient there's ancient Jewish texts that's like there was this weird evil warlock that existed around then, but we won't get into that. That's a whole thing.
That's a whole
Uh,
nother thing.
that's a whole
Yeah,
other
that's a whole other
story.
topic there.
Yeah. All right.
This is not the typical fun, light banter we usually get into, is it?
No. Let's get some fun light banter going about that Chiefs game. Why don't we get into that?
Oh, yeah, that
Uh,
was a light, fun banter, wasn't it?
that
Yeah.
it was just some fun jabs between people who used to pretend to dress like Native Americans and people who still dress like Native Americans.
All right.
All right, let's get into it.
Okay. Washington lost this game 28-7. Marcus Mariota was 21 for 30, 213 yards, one touchdown, two interceptions, two sacks, quarterback rating of 73.3. As a team, Washington rushed for 60 yards on 20 carries. Marcus Mariota led the way with 8 carries, 28 yards, 3.5 yards a carry. Washington's lead back Corey Krosky-Merritt was 9 for 25 or 2.8 yards per carry. Jeremy McNichols 1 for 4. Chris Rodriguez 1 for 2. Debo Samuel 1 for 1. I had to read all those out because it's impressively bad.
It is fascinatingly bad.
Receiving, Jeremy McNichols led the way, 5 for 64. Terry McLaurin was 3 for 54, 1 touchdown, along with 25 on 4 targets. Luke McCaffrey went 3 for 24. Zach Ertz went 4 for 16. Debo Samuel 3 for 11. It goes far down from there. Tackles on defense. Quan Martin led the way this time, 14 total tackles, 10 solo. Bobby Wagner had 10. Jeremy Reeves, we haven't said much about this year so far, 7. The sacks were Johnny Newton with 1, Jacob Martin with 2. Should we play the Trustway game? No, it's no point.
No, he didn't kick until deep into the second half.
Yeah, he wins 3 for 142, and Washington's 190,000th kicker of the past 3 years, Matthew Wright, kicked 1 extra point. And that was it. And that is Washington on the Chiefs side. Patrick Mahomes, 25-34, 299 yards, 3 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, 3 sacks, quarterback rating 104.9. Isaac Pacheco, 12 for 58, 4.8 yards per carry. Kareem Hunt, 9 for 40, 4.4 yards per carry. Patrick Mahomes, 4 for 30. Receiving, Travis Kelce went 6 for 99 yards. Rashid Rice, 9 for 93. Xavier Worthy, 5 for 53. Juju Smith-Schuster, 2 for 29. Noah Gray, 2 for 23. Kareem Hunt, 1 for 2. And that is stats.
All right. Thank you, Steve. Okay, so let's take this game kind of as a whole. Obviously, I think we all went into this thinking that Washington didn't have much of a shot. You don't have Jaden Daniels. The team hasn't been playing well even with Daniels out there, and then you take your best player off the field, right? Like Washington, they held with them pretty well in the first half overall. Obviously it was 7-7 at the half. The defense played really well. Those first 2 drives, they got picks, which apparently was something Patrick Mahomes has never done in his career, was his first 2 drives being picked off. But just miscues on offense. Obviously, you had a tip pass for an interception. You went for 2 4th downs and failed, which we can get into those. Like that. There's a lot to unpack with that, like electronic measurement and all that stuff.
Yeah. I mean, generally speaking, obviously it was a tale of 2 halves.
Yeah.
And to be fair, at least one of those interceptions by Mahomes, for that matter by Mariota, they're like bouncing off people and careening in other places. And I don't really blame the quarterbacks for all of those. Maybe all of them. Honestly, all 3 of them were kind of strange.
I've always said there should be a caveat for tip picks versus regular picks.
Yeah, it ought to count for half or something.
Yeah.
But yeah, Washington's defense, I will say that for the first half, Kansas City's offense, this was kind of off kilter or something, but Washington's defense did a good job. I mean, in there, they
were flying around. They were playing quick.
Yeah, they stopped these drives. For the most part, they did good. They just couldn't sustain it, in the second half, and they, and what I really, Washington gave up 3 points at the end of the half. They could have kicked a field goal near the, what was the last drive. Instead, they went for it. They failed.
Right.
And I believe Kansas City scored a touchdown on the next drive, did they not? And so that's like a 10-point swing. There. They probably should have kicked a field goal. It would have been 45-yard attempt.
Yeah.
Let this kid try it. That's not that unreasonable. So I fault that as a strategy. But obviously the fault in this game was they just couldn't sustain their effort for full 60 minutes.
Right, and then the offense just completely flatlined in the second half.
Totally died in the second half.
Yeah. I mean, go ahead.
Yeah. That interception by Lattimore was what we've been waiting for Lattimore since he's been here.
Oh,
great
I'm glad
coverage.
You mentioned it. Outstanding. Yeah.
It was
perfect
great
coverage.
Yeah. And he read the receiver. He understood the situation, turned around, and he picked the ball off. That is what we've been waiting for with him, and we got it. The majority of the game he played, the majority of that first half, he was pretty much locked down that side. There wasn't anything they could do against him. Defensively, I think that might have been the best half of football I've seen Joe Witt have as a defensive coordinator. And of course, ironically enough, you had Jordan McGee out there quite a bit. You had, although let's say what Tyler Owens, right, their young safety, he wasn't great,
Right.
but his speed and his youth was present on the field, so he was definitely being disrupted to a certain degree.
Right.
So you saw when we had more of that infusion of the youth and speed, he was able to do more with the defense. You know, he was able to kind of work sideline to sideline much more effectively. Um, but as far as this game, though, yeah, we say a tale of two halves, but it was a tale of missed opportunities because the second half just showed that KC obviously, and we all, I mean, it goes without saying, really, that their talent outclasses ours, their coaching outclasses ours, and finally in the second half, it all just started coming to fruition. It was like when I text you guys during the process of the game, it was like, you know what? I think this is at the point where I think Casey begins to pull away, and lo
And
and
they
behold,
did.
they did.
They did. Yeah.
And you know what? I don't want to say that this was a bad game because what they did in this game, especially in the first half, they were not embarrassed in this game whatsoever. I don't think. I think they really showed that if they were fully healthy and Jane Daniels on the field, they still lose the game, but the game might have been a little more competitive going at least into the fourth quarter. So I think there were some bright spots in the game, but all in all, you saw the age of this team at the same time too. Because once KC started moving the ball, man, that was it. You know, Wagner out of position. They were just unable to keep up defensively, and
Well, I mean, look, we told you guys
Mhm.
in the game preview, and I put it in writing. Um, Patrick Mahomes is what makes the Kansas City Chiefs go.
Right.
And you cannot leave anybody on the field wide open. He's got the best vision you're ever going to find in a quarterback.
For sure.
He
He's
does,
fantastic.
and so it's easy pickings when you leave like the first ballot Hall of Fame tight end with nobody around him for 10 yards.
right.
And
Yeah.
the old linebacker trailing him, running after him frantically. I think that was Wagner chasing after him, wasn't it?
I think
Yeah.
so.
On that play. Um, those are the kind of mistakes that are just going to haunt you forever. And I find a hard time blaming Joe Witt completely for stuff like this. Because I mean, he's not the one that makes old and slow players. He's not the one that,
Right.
has busted coverages. He's responsible for the game plan. The panacea, and the solution to this is not, as these fans do, just fire Joe Witt. And, it's not that simple. They've got players that are old.
Right.
They've
Yeah.
got players that don't seem to play very well, within the scheme.
Well,
And it fell apart.
Yeah.
Well, just like in that first half where I alluded to, when you had more of the youth out there on the field, Joe Witt had he had a better game schematically because he was able to do more with his defense. I mean, I'm
Mhm.
not on that train for fire Joe Witt myself either because you have to allow this team to start getting young. I mean, we may have to take a step back from the expectations next offseason so we can start getting more assets.
They they
Okay, so
they
I do
need
have
to. Oh,
go
sorry,
ahead.
Steve. Go ahead. No, no,
Well, no, I was
you.
going to say I do have some play counts here for this. So
Okay.
Bobby Wagner played all 100% of the defensive snaps. Frankie Louvu 88%. Jordan McGee played 84%, and Von Miller only 23%. And so
Interesting.
McGee, yeah, it is. And so keep talking, Alex, and I'm going to go back to the 1 week
Well,
before and see how different
yeah.
it
All right.
is.
Well, you're looking for last week. I was gonna say, like I can't really blame the coaching staff either because when we look at the offense, we know the offense for the next 5, 10 years, you're building around Jaden Daniels if everything goes right, right?
Right.
That's your keystone. You're going to build a roster that fits his skill set. You're going to build, and hopefully it'll be a great offense. I know it's a down year for him and he's injured, but overall, that's your big picture. There's not a player on defense you can say that about yet. There is no key player on defense who's your cornerstone yet.
Well, I would lean maybe Trey Amos. Maybe I think he's starting to become that. But all in all,
maybe.
I think you're right on the most part.
But I hate to say this, you don't build a defense around one great corner.
That's true.
No, it's got to be a linebacker and interior lineman.
Yeah.
And last week against
you
Dallas,
build from the center out. Like that's always going to be true about defense.
Last weekend against Dallas, Wagner and Luvu both had 90% of the snaps. And then Von Miller was at 39%. Jordan McGee was at 33% of the defensive snaps.
Right.
So that was last week.
Okay. So that's a pretty big shift overall.
It is. It's a huge shift.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's one they've been slow to make, but I think as this season goes down the tubes, they need to do this on offense and defense. Just start playing your younger guys, man. Figure it out. Tell them you're going on the field. We're going to see if you can actually play. Because if you can't, we got to move on. Like, if you're Luke McCaffrey and you can't get more than 5 catches a game ever, I don't know if there's a long-term solution there. And maybe Luke McCaffrey's not the best guy to pick on.
He's not a great example, no.
No, I mean he is starting to improve, but you know what I'm saying. Overall, Ben Sinnott. Let's say if Ben Sinnott can't get a 5-catch game in here at some point, I'm worried about him long term.
Oh, I'm definitely ready to move on if that's the case.
Right. And same with these defensive guys. If none of these young defensive guys step up and show you anything, you got to keep going. Keep finding new guys to play in there. But the one thing you also mentioned, Dave, when you were talking about the game is the coaching staff. Can we admit Kansas City's probably the best coaching staff now in the NFL, especially with Belichick gone?
Yeah.
Like Belichick and Reed were arguably a 1-2. Like you could say Belichick had more rings and more success overall, but I think Reed was always a better tactician. And obviously Reed's an offensive minded versus a defensive mind, but
there's
now,
no question.
I don't think there's anyone even close to what Kansas City has.
I think there's no question Andy Reid is the best coach in the NFL right now.
Right, and his supporting staff too is outstanding.
And he sacrificed a lot to get there.
He's
done way more than what I would have ever done for any job, with his family and kids and stuff. But that's a whole nother question. But
that's a whole topic in itself.
Yeah.
Yes. And that's not even to say you could argue we have a good coaching staff, but they're just above anybody.
Yeah.
So, yeah. All right. So the one thing I wanted to touch on briefly with that first half, that first 4th down, the Zach Ertz, he comes up short. I do think he came up short on that 4th down overall. It was like 4th and 5 or 4th and 6, and he, they did the electronic measurement thing. The electronic measurement's a joke, though. Can we admit that?
I think it's stupid.
Like, I like using technology for making the game better, but the ref spots the ball, then we go to the electronics for the measurement.
It's ridiculous, okay?
Yeah.
The ref spots the ball. And what is wrong with getting a guy out? I think it's better to have the stick out there to show the world exactly how far it is. I think it's stupid.
I think that's stupid because I think the thing that we didn't trust was the ref respotting the ball all the time.
Right.
And that's still what you're doing. What we want, I think, as fans is the second we know he's down, that's how you're spotting the ball, saying, all right, we can do here's where the ball is, here's where the line is. It's not up to the ref at that point. It's up to
honestly, I trust this virtual thing less.
I do too.
Okay, the virtual reality bot says it's 5 inches short. Okay, and we'll show it to me.
Right, exactly. Well, we're showing you a graphic that says it, Steve. Isn't that good?
Yeah, I know. That's so dumb.
Right.
Well, the one thing I would add to that Zach Ertz play is that when they took the view going down the line of scrimmage from Ertz's backside, as soon as they paused it, when his knee finally hit down, just before that, if you actually kind of bump it back a bit, because when his knee was down, the ball was kind of coming back in. But prior to that, he had that ball out.
Yeah.
To me, he may not have gotten the first down entirely, but I thought he was a heck of a lot closer than when they first spotted it right there. Yeah. I mean, it was actually close enough where I think they might have actually given him the first down. But that's just how I saw that
That's a
angle. But
judgment
whatever.
call. I kind of
Yeah.
had the same thought you did.
Yeah,
It was a judgment call.
it
And
is a
like no
judgment
one
call.
from our writer, no one from Tampa's been on a warpath about the refs recently, and about bias. I don't really buy that, to be honest. But in this case, I thought it's kind of a bad snap.
It,
By the
it,
way,
it,
before I forget
yeah.
about the snaps count, I also asked him to look into Marshawn Lattimore. And ironically enough, he put due to longtime reader request, which was me, which I thought was funny. But I wanted to know how many penalties he's getting compared to other starting corners, and the answer is that he was kind of right in the middle. And so
Yeah.
he's not getting penalized at a much greater rate than other
Really
comparative number
interesting.
one corners. Yeah.
I would have not suspected.
Read it
that.
on our Hold On column that was published Wednesday. It's out there.
Yeah, I would not have suspected him to be more
I didn't
middle
either.
of the pack.
That's why I
Yeah.
wanted him to do it. I thought it
Yeah.
was going to come out differently.
It's a good, but as you've said before, Steve, we try and not be biased when we look at these numbers.
That's right. I mean, we do a lot of stats, and I never know how it's going to turn out.
Yeah, you have your suspicions,
Yes.
and that obviously suspicion is why we do a number
Oh,
like
absolutely.
a statistical. Yeah,
That's why I asked them to
Yeah.
do it.
right. That's called science, folks. That's how it works. All right. So obviously the first half, I think there was a lot more interesting stuff that happened there. A hot take. I think Marcus Mariota, when he's playing on, he plays with a little bit better anticipation right now this season than Jane Daniels has.
Funny you
Mike-
say that, because that thought was going through my head as well.
Really interesting.
Yeah, it was. Like right now, I kind of think Marcus Mariota's maybe a better option for the team in some respects than Jane Daniels. Certainly hurt Jane Daniels.
In some respects, not all, but in some, yes. I think Jane Daniels better arm. I think when he makes an accurate throw, he's going to be way more accurate than Mariota. You're not going to see those weird rainbow balls that we saw from Mariota.
Well, I think the one thing that makes that a bit deceptive though is Jaden Daniels hasn't really played with his full complement of receivers yet.
Absolutely true.
And when he practices, he's playing with his full complement of receivers. Now Mariota, all through the offseason and through practices, he may have some time with those complement with the primary receivers, but on the most part, when you have guys like Moore out there and Luke McCaffrey out there, these are the guys that Mariota are primarily practicing with. So you have Mariota at a more comfort level with his receiver group than what Jaden Daniels has. And then Jaden Daniels you have with two injuries that he has to deal with as well.
Right.
This year has been compounding with Jaden Daniels in terms of what I said there, involving chemistry. He's been off on throws he wasn't normally off on last year. I mean, obviously defenses have caught up to him a little bit. So, but
it's a lot of things. He just hasn't looked like himself. I agree with all that stuff.
Yeah. But that is an interesting point about receiver health. I hadn't thought of it from that perspective. All right, so you guys kind of agree with me. I would say overall you still want Jaden out there.
Of course you do. I mean, he's a first-round draft pick. Yeah.
And it's the best way he's going to develop long term.
Provided he's healthy, of course.
Right.
Well, yeah.
Right.
I mean, if the guy is going to be the long-term, franchise quarterback, you don't yank him out of the game just because he's had a string of 4 or 5 mediocre games.
Right.
That's not what you do.
Right. And honestly, you say mediocre. He hasn't stunk up the joint at any point.
No, he's not been terrible.
Right.
He just hasn't been 2024 Jaden Daniels.
Right. He you know what he's been game managing a lot of these games.
Well, he's also just throwing a bunch of bad passes.
I mean that too, but he plays it safe. He doesn't turn the ball over. That's who he's been this year.
A running game. So
yeah,
they
let's
were
talk about
absolutely
that.
atrocious in the running game against this team. Now, one of the things they had to do was have some long, sustained drives to keep Patrick Mahomes off the field, and they just totally failed at this.
Yeah,
it totally failed. I remember, when Krosky Merritt had that great game against, was it the Chargers?
Yeah, and we were all ready. We were all excited.
Well, we were wondering, is this the start of something, or is this the high water mark, or what? And it's basically been the high water mark.
Well,
Yeah.
what's
for it.
interesting about Krosky Merritt is I'm sure you guys have heard of Lionel Willingham on 106.7
Sure.
The Fan.
Yes.
No, but I
And
live in
I
Texas, so go ahead.
yeah.
okay,
Yeah. I
he's
know.
not he's not a huge fanfare because he does kind of add some shock jock type of broadcasting out there. But
Yeah.
he did bring up a very interesting point though. I read on a column today is he was quoted as saying that ever since those fumbles that he had, when you watch his running style, he has been very, very hesitant in his running style. It's seen, and I didn't really think much of that. And when I kind of think of these last couple games, to be honest with you, when I think of the Chargers game, even to build up to the Chargers game, he was one step and go, one step and go. He was very decisive in his running. These last two games, he hasn't been. It's almost like he's thinking more of hold the ball, hold the ball, hold the ball than actually getting that one
But he kind
step
of,
versus
I
getting
agree with you.
upfield.
He kind of ran last year with like a reckless abandon almost,
Yeah,
sort of a controlled abandon. I know that's a bit of an oxymoron, but that's kind of what it was. But this year it has been very hesitant. It's a good point. The thought's been going through my head. I just hadn't articulated it quite as well
yeah,
as that. But as you did, but I do. There's something different about the way he runs. There really is, and it's not just like Tom Brady telling him to slide. It's
yeah.
just much more controlled and cautious, I guess, is the way to say it.
And that's something he can get past. Right now, he just has to.
Yeah.
He just has to start getting more. What he needs is he needs a good 20, 30 yard run is what he needs. And if he
We need to
gets
get
that,
healthy first. But
Yeah. Well, I think health would be a factor, but honestly, I also think we're underappreciating all the changes to the line and how that's impacted him as well. I mean, the last 3 weeks, I think they've changed the line, at least one player on the offensive line, starting offensive line each week. That could be part of it,
well,
right?
and the other thing is, I mean, Josh Connerly has sucked. Okay,
He's
I
he's
mean,
had some struggles. He got blamed
how
for
many
that
times have I
one big
seen?
hit that
Well, it looked like he was at fault for it.
no,
The guy ran
that
right
was
past him.
Cosby. That was on Cosby
I don't
all the
know. I
way.
mean, it was a mix-up between the two of them, but I mean, he's gotten beat many times this year. He's got to improve. I'm not saying he's a bust. It's too early for any of that, but he's not been good, and that hasn't helped.
I mean,
You
I don't
know,
well,
think you're wrong that he needs to develop better, or that
maybe
he needs more time.
maybe they should have done the same thing they did with Brandon Coleman last year. Just
maybe.
snap count early in the year and then bring him along, bring him along. Because I mean, Brandon Coleman became a serviceable left tackle last year because they took their time with him. He wasn't great by no means, but he was serviceable last year, and we didn't even expect him to be serviceable. But
See,
he ended up being,
speaking of that, I mean, he played pretty well left tackle this game. Like not great, but
Left
uh,
guard.
or no, he came in
Well,
for
after Tunsil, Larry
Tunsil.
Tunsil
Yeah,
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 left. Yeah, yeah.
yeah. I thought he played pretty well at left tackle there. I don't know if I mean, look, I think he kind of got screwed this year in that he was told he was going to be the right tackle, then he got moved back to left guard. Like, that's pretty tough on a young player.
Yeah, I mean, we've heard Robbie Duncan on this show talk about, especially switching sides. It's really hard.
yeah,
I just think Josh Connerly seems to be one of the bigger problems, and Tyler Biotish hasn't looked good at times, this
no,
year either. And so, yeah, I think like it's affected both Jaden Daniels and Marcus Mariota and the run game. There's no doubt about it. But the fact of the matter is, to win some of these games, they're going to have a running game, whoever it is and however it is, and it can't just be like Jaden Daniels when he's healthy running over the place is not the answer.
Yeah, yeah. Speaking of things that can help the running game, I noticed Joe Theismann on Twitter. He posted, we got to teach these young guys to play out of under center, which, as you guys know, has been
yeah,
my big harping point for a
I
while
think
now.
you're right.
Yeah.
I wasn't trying to argue with you last week about it.
No,
My
no, no.
point
I don't
was
think so.
like, it just, the NFL doesn't seem to want to do it anymore.
I'm just saying, Steve. You know who
I
agrees
agree
with you
with
and
you. I'm
me,
on your side.
and
Yeah.
you know who else is on our side? Joe frickin' Theismann.
yeah.
Like
Who
that's
played
a,
in the 80s.
yeah.
Well,
That's it.
you know who
It's
else
still
is
a
on
good
our
guy to
side
have on our
too?
side. Yeah.
You know who
Who's
else is
that?
on the side too is Brian Schottenheimer Jr. because he gets Dak Prescott on the center a lot of short yardage situations.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's true.
Yeah.
I saw
That's
that
true.
I saw that this weekend. I was like,
You
man,
just can't play out of a shotgun all the time. You
Yeah.
shouldn't.
No.
I don't think.
No.
So one thing I can't stand is having to run it back like 7, 8 yards in the backfield, starting off that far back. That's insane to me.
Yeah.
Well, it puts you at a disadvantage. You think
Yeah.
about that and like compare that to like the tush push play. You know,
Oh, there was that whole controversy again this week,
look,
right?
the controversy with the tush push is that people can't stop it. I think it's a legitimate criticism if offensive linemen are moving before the snap, fair enough.
Right.
Oh no, he's not talking about that. He's talking about the what should have been called a fumble, and it was a fumble, but they called the play dead. And if the play was dead, then when Jalen Hurts reached out like he did, that shouldn't have been counted. And if he didn't count that, he would have been short of the first down. But
I
because
didn't
they
see
allowed
this
him to
play.
reach out, and then the ball was
Yeah.
and then the ball was knocked out of his hands, and the Giants recovered it, and that should have been a fumble.
Oh, okay. I didn't see
So
the play, so
Yeah.
yeah, it was crazy.
Yeah.
That's what I think Alex was talking about.
Absolutely. Yeah. So, like Dave said, Jalen Hurts fumbled while he tried to reach across the line, and they called it dead, but then gave him the first down. So
Yeah.
it was idiotic, and it's also just refs are bad at their jobs. I feel like the three of us could go wander onto a field with no training and ref a game better than them sometimes.
I utterly think not. But go ahead.
I just wouldn't
Yeah.
be able to keep up with the guys running up and down the field. That's the only.
Even if you could,
Mhm.
that's a tough job, man. I mean,
Yeah.
it's easy to talk about them from
It-
afar, but that's a really hard job.
It might be
Well-
a hard job, but there was that old gray-haired dude who kept saying Terry McLaurin was out of bounds on those two big plays. Maybe we should just at least start looking one ref at a time. Like he clearly doesn't know what he's doing anymore.
Have I told you guys on the air my Ed Hockley story?
Yes, years ago you did.
I did. Dave,
Yeah.
have you heard the Ed Hockley story? I won't say it if I.
I think it was my first year on here. I think it was a couple of years
Okay,
ago, I
well-
beve.
Okay, well, we'll skip the Ed Hockley story then. Go ahead.
Right. Everyone go Google Steve Ed Hockley. Somehow it'll come up.
I'm sure
Yeah.
that'll
All right.
work.
Yes, that'll work.
Well, one last point on the refs. I would love to hear a national media guy ask these officials, "Why are you not calling the hip drop tackle this year?" I mean,
You're on the
Cam
warpath about the hip
Scatterbo.
drop
Yeah,
tackle
it's
tapes.
fair. It's
Huh?
fair.
You're on a warpath about this. You mention it
Dude,
every week.
It's insane because both times Jane Daniels was hurt, that was legitimate hip drop tackles.
Right.
Cam Scatterbo's ankle got
Hip drop.
dislocated off of a hip drop tackle. I mean, come on, man. It's like listen. I get it. You want to let him play. But last year you spent all year flagging every version of the hip drop tackle, even the hip drop tackles that
Yeah.
weren't hip drop tackles. You flagged for a hip drop tackle last year. You're not even doing any of that this year. It's blowing my mind.
I just think
see,
it's funny you're on such a warpath about it.
I'm so conflicted about it because I feel like, as far as tackling goes, it's just so hard to bring guys to the ground. Period. Half the hip drop tackles we're talking about are incidental. It's not like
Oh.
people do
some
it
of
with
them,
intent.
quite a bit of them, yeah.
But
Yeah.
to get back to this game, this is another instance, I think, in summary, of Washington not playing a full 60 minutes of quality football. They completely died in the second half. Blame the players, blame the coaches, blame everybody, blame whoever you want, but they did not put together a full 60 minutes. And I also think like Kansas City's offense was just weirdly out of sync for a while, and they got it together somehow at halftime.
Right.
And simultaneously, Washington fell apart. It's as simple as that. I mean, Washington is just
I
not a
would
great team this year, irrespective of injuries.
I would say that's true. I would also say the exact same thing about Kansas City defense. They came out of the second half and shut them out. So
Yeah.
Yep.
like Washington was moving the ball that first half up and down the field. They didn't get any points off of it because of offensive decisions,
Right.
or maybe just coaching decisions. But Like that was part of it too.
Should we do game balls?
Let's do game balls, I guess. It is not a pretty game. I'm sure you guys have game balls to give the other team. So let's
I
just
would never do that. You think I would do something like that?
never would you do something like that. I'll go first. I guess Terry McLaurin. I guess 3 catches, 54 yards, and a touchdown.
That was a
very
good
weak
Yay.
touchdown catch, though.
Huh?
That was a very good catch for a touchdown.
Oh, that touchdown was a beauty. And again, that 1,000-year-old ref with his white long hair that was sticking out, like past his shoulders. He didn't see it. He had no idea what was going on in front of him. On defense, nobody deserves it on defense. I'll go Bobby Wagner, I guess, with the pick. Good for you, old man. Get ready to retire. Come on, Bobby. Like, come do a podcast. That's what you're ready for.
Patrick Mahomes deserves the offensive game ball. He's the one that quarterbacked the thing to success in the second half. I'm actually going to give Marshawn Lattimore a game ball for on defense here, even though Washington got skunked and everything. But the interception was great. As you said, Dave, earlier, it was a great play, great coverage. That's what, Washington's been looking for. And so the fact that he did that, I think he deserves a game ball. A deflated minor game ball, but a game ball.
I'm gonna go Luke McCaffrey for my game ball because that was a beautiful catch on the sidelines, and I really like what he's developing into as being a number 3, number 4 receiver for his team and a kick returner. I think we have something pretty nice right there. And I will go with on defense. Let me go with Jacob Martin for his 2 sacks in this game on defense.
Yeah, there we go. I mean, those are 3 legitimate guys who contributed on defense, which is more than we can say for some weeks. So, congratulations, guys. Good for you all. All right, we will close the book on that game. Let's move on. So some team news. Let's start with the big injuries. Terry McLaurin's hurt again. Yay. His quad has been re-aggravated, so he will miss the Seattle game. It sounds like for sure, if not more. And Jane Daniels is practicing again, so he'll get to play Seattle without Terry McLaurin, just like he's been playing without Terry McLaurin, it seems like, all season. Those two have, I think, been on the field for 1 game together. Am I right? Or is it 2? I think it might just be 1.
I think it was 2. Wasn't it not 2?
Was it 2?
Yeah, I
okay.
think it was 2.
Yeah, it just weird how one keeps going down and the other comes up. Very strange.
At some point, if Terry McLaurin keeps getting hurt, they're just gonna have to bite the bullet and call it a season.
Cut him?
Put him on IR.
But put him on IR.
Yeah,
I know.
Yeah, I mean, if this one ends up being a multi-week one like they're talking about, it might be. You might want to at least short-term IR it, right?
Yeah.
All right. Other team news, nothing really big. Other team news wise. All right. So let's get into the game for Seattle. What numbers do we want to go over first, Steve? I guess.
Okay.
I'll ask
Well,
you that.
Here's the thing about Seattle. Let me go to it. Seattle's kind of an interesting team. Okay, because if you look at some of their rankings and whatnot, they average 3.7 yards per carry as a team on the ground. That's almost last. That's 30th in the league. Would you care to guess what team runs the ball a lot? It's Seattle. They have 202 carries, which is 5th most in the league. And that 3.7 yards per carry is offset a little bit by the fact that their leading rusher, which is Kenneth Walker Jr., is averaging 4.5 yards a carry. Only has 95 carries.
Right.
4.5. Everybody else is terrible, in terms of yards per carry. And so even though, and the other thing is, Sam Darnold's having a Pro Bowl year. That guy he's got a 109 quarterback rating. They've got some talented receivers. Jackson Smith, how do you pronounce his name?
Jigba? Jackson Smith and Jigba.
Yeah. Is having that guy having an amazing year.
Yeah.
He's fourth in the NFL in a number of targets and
Right.
sixth in the NFL in receptions. And
But it's the 819 yards. That's the amazing thing.
yeah, well, I was going to
Yeah.
get to that, 819 yards. And so, but so it seems like they ought to be a passing offense, but the truth is they're going to run the ball and run the ball a lot. Because that's what they've been doing. So to me, the game plan against Seattle is keep their run game in check. Don't let Kenneth Walker the third, average 4.5 yards a carry. You got to keep Smith and Jigba from big plays because he made a ton of them. And then offensively, they're not going to be able to run the ball against Seattle.
Oh no.
Seattle is almost the best run defense in the league, and so now you're talking about short over the middle passes, screen plays, that kind of thing. So that's what I would do against Seattle.
I think that's as sound of a plan as anything. Yeah. So in terms of their receivers, Cooper Kupp's their number 2 guy. He has less than 300 yards. That's how big of a gap is between the two right
Smith
now.
and Jigba and everybody else.
Yeah. Yeah. There's a 500-yard gap in between the two, which is pretty crazy when you think about just the way NFL teams play right now. Yeah, you have to watch out for Jackson Smith and Jigba. You have to watch out for Walker, but they don't really have a lot beyond those two weapons. It feels
No,
like.
that's the thing. But
Yeah.
nobody,
Yeah, they're two solid players, two solid options.
well, Smith
Yeah,
and Jigba
but
is going to be an All-Pro if he keeps
Yeah.
this up.
Oh yeah, for sure.
the
No,
one
no
thing that
question.
will scare me about this offense we face is that AJ Barner is a decent, fairly athletic tight end going against Bobby Wagner. So he's going to look like Tucker did in that week 2 matchup against Green Bay. I mean, he's at that. If we don't get the proper guy to cover him, he does have some ability to get past and get downfield through the seam. But I'm not scared of him. But I mean, he could be kind of a problem. So I mean, with me defensively, I mean they're not a great running team. I think we're solid against the run anyway. Against the run this year, we have been on the most part this year. I mean, this is one of the things where you just put Amos on Cup all afternoon, and you put Lattimore with safety help over top over in Jigba, and I think you can do wonders on trying to not wonders. I didn't mean to say wonders, but you could do yourself some favors if you kind of roll your defense that way and load the box, because if you can get Darnold into any kind of pressure situation, that's where he has problems, and he's proven that in the past. If you can get pressure on him and get him moving out of that pocket, then you can get an errant throw here and there, maybe even get another interception and so forth. But
I mean,
I
that was the
mean,
game plan for him. He hasn't been in that situation this year. My
right,
concern about that kind of game plan is that Washington doesn't have the personnel to do it.
true.
Half of them are hurt.
Yep.
Defensive line. Armstrong's out.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
I think this is a game that where if anything, you need to blitz Louvu like crazy then.
Maybe.
Let keep McGee out there on Barner on the most part. Wagner can help on run support, and I mean maybe something like that. I don't know.
I mean, it's a good idea. I mean, I said it last week. They need to just bring random pressure all the time. I
Yeah.
was saying about the secondary, but I think it still
Well,
applies.
somebody didn't say you got to shade coverage, obviously, to Smith and Jigba.
Okay.
This is not a week for press man coverage by somebody.
So
No.
so here's the question: how do we trick the Seahawks into their guard just completely misses who's rushing and goes for somebody and doesn't touch like a massively open pass rusher?
Well,
I
just show them
don't
the
think
Cosby
that's
film. It'd be good to go.
Right. Exactly. Exactly.
That's a little bit tough to arrange that one, I think.
Yeah, unfortunately. But we're good at it. We have that talent here in DC. We're special. All right. Why don't I mean like this game? This one's gonna be tough for me to predict a score on. So I'll go to you guys first. See where you're at.
All right. So here's the thing. The Seahawks have scored a lot of points. they've been above in 7 games. They've been 27 points or more in 4 of 7 games. Washington is at a low point in defense. I fully recognize that Seattle has to travel cross country for this, but I don't really have a lot of faith in Washington's defense right now after what happened last week and all these injuries, and the offense has been a train wreck. So I think Washington loses yet another one. So, and I think the Seahawks are going to put some points up, 30-20, Seattle.
Yeah, I'm not too confident in this game at all. I wasn't confident 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, or in the start of the year. I just saw what Seattle was becoming this year from looking at the back end of last year. I talked about their defense in the offseason, and their defense is coming to that fruition this year. They have a good quarterback. As long as he's not in a playoff situation, he's going to go out there and do very well, and Darnold. So I think this game, I won't go to my 52-20 score from last week, but I definitely think it's going to be about probably like a 30-20 type of game.
You're in my ballpark, more or less.
Yeah,
But you're also picking Seattle, I assume.
correct. Yes.
All right. Yeah. I mean, as much as I don't want to pick Seattle, I feel like the wheels are starting to come off way too much with Washington. And I don't know that this coaching staff has any solutions or answers right now. So I think it's another ugly loss in prime time here, man. I don't think it's be as high scoring. I'm gonna say more like a 24-17 type loss for Washington. Uh, also if Terry's out, like no one stepped up to be the weapon yet. So that's just concerning.
Don't worry, Robbie Chosen's back on the practice squad. All
Oh,
will be well.
good. The chosen one.
They had to release him for the kicker,
Right.
last week, but he's back.
Right.
There's a roster
Right.
move.
Maybe
there
we'll
we
see
go.
Traylon Burks this week.
Maybe. Can't
Boy
hurt
can
at this
dream.
point,
A
right?
boy can
Yeah.
dream. All right. So I had one final topic that I thought would be interesting for the show. Obviously, we're getting closer and closer to the trade deadline part of the year. A few weeks ago, we were talking about Washington being buyers. I thought, given that they're now 0-3 in the last 3 games, should Washington be sellers at the trade deadline? And if so, who would be some guys you would look to move on from? I don't expect you to say I want X picks for Y player. Just ballpark. Give me some players that you'd say I would openly shopping X player.
I mean, it's easy for people to say, like, get rid of Bobby Wagner, get rid of Marshawn Lattimore. I mean,
Right.
but those guys are toxic. I mean, they are very, very, very expensive, especially Lattimore. And I don't know how you trade a guy like that.
Right.
I do think they need some more draft picks. They've got what, two draft picks in the top 100 or something like
Something
that.
like
And
that.
yeah.
And
Yeah,
I
you
don't
got
think you're
first,
gonna
third, and
get.
fourth.
I don't think you're gonna get a high draft pick for anyone you're trading this point.
Oh,
of the
you're
year.
not.
No.
That's what I was about to say is, they don't really have anybody that they would trade that they're going to get a high draft pick for. 'Cause so if you go through this, defensive line group, I mean, they're down. A bunch of people are hurt, and you could trade Deron Payne, I guess, but I
Right.
mean,
He might
you know,
fetch you a third rounder at best.
maybe, yeah. I mean, he would be one. Um, the linebacker, I don't think they're getting anything for Bobby Wagner. He's the only one they would trade there. Von Miller isn't worth anything. I think Marshawn Lattimore's way too expensive to get anything but a bag of Doritos for. You're not going to trade 18 million and get something for him. And there's not really any safeties that are going to get anything. So then you talk offense, the tight end group, no. They need
Mhm.
Zach Ertz. Offensive line, no. Running backs, receiver, they don't have any great trade assets to me. So I guess if you make me pick one, I'd say Deron Payne.
Yeah, there aren't a ton. No Igbenogany would be one, maybe.
Who's going to get you a bag of chips?
I mean, yeah, but I'll take the bag of chips at this point, Steve. I'm starving for draft picks. If Noah can give you a 7th round pick, great. That's more than he's worth, as a free agent next year. Um,
Well, I don't
would
know,
say,
actually, maybe not, because if they lose, you get compensatory draft picks in these stuff. So
that
some of these
that
players you might get a compensatory
well,
pick for.
but not him, because he was not drafted by the team. Remember, that's one of the things
Oh,
you
was
need
he not
for.
drafted by the team? Yeah, you're right
No,
about
no,
that.
Yeah.
he was
Yeah,
not.
yeah.
Uh, I would honestly be looking to move on from at least one of these O linemen. I feel like they actually, well, they don't have stars on the offensive line. I feel
Well,
like
Laramie
they,
Tunsil might be a star.
okay,
Yeah.
fine. But other than that, like, I think you get rid of one of these guards, and it's gonna suck if somebody gets hurt, but you take that risk, and they might have some trade value. One of their guards that they have on the roster. Uh,
You might be able to do like an
yeah,
Allegretti and a 6 for a 5th or something like that.
yeah. You could always do those. The trade
Yeah.
a pick and a player to go up around.
Yeah.
That's always a good trick.
Myself,
would-
I think I
I would
think
be
you
open to
could
that.
probably do what the trade deadline's what in 2 weeks, right?
Yeah, something like that.
So if Debo Samuels comes out there and has a really good game this week, I mean, for a team that's looking for a number 2 receiver who can also return kicks that's in the playoff running, I think you might be able to get like maybe a 4th and a 6th or something like that for someone like him. He still shows he's got the wheels this year. He's been playing very well this year.
I mean, my fear is they like physically don't have enough players who are NFL worthy, in the
I understand
receiver
that.
group
Yeah,
if McLaurin's hurt. I agree with you. I think, that would be a good move, but I mean, then you're down to starting practice squad guys.
yeah.
Of course,
You,
maybe
you
that's okay if the season's over, and I guess that's your point.
Yeah. You get guys like Traylon Burks in there and see what he can do for the rest of the year. The guy's only 25 years old, so it's. The guy played with Will Levis for his entire career in Tennessee.
As
I
we
mean,
all
I
know,
think
sucks.
yeah, so I think he deserves a second opportunity with a
right.
competent quarterback. So
Yeah, yeah, that's true. What about Drawn Payne? Did we talk about Drawn Payne yet?
I said Drawn
Oh, you
Payne might
did, you
be the
did. Yeah,
one, you could trade,
yeah,
would be him. Of course, he
yeah.
only has 1 year left on his contract himself, but that's a perfect time to trade. He signs a new contract, finishes out a year with a competitive team.
Right,
Yeah, I mean, I
right.
think if you're going to get a real draft pick for anybody, it'd probably be Debo Sam would be the other one. It'd be him or Debo. And you could come up with a crazy trade. They wanted to trade Jalen Daniels or something, but nobody's going to do that.
Right.
Obviously.
We're trying to be realistic here.
Realistic,
right.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I can't think of anyone else offhand who would make sense as big trade bait.
Not really.
Realistically, there's
No.
not a ton
I mean,
of it.
Terry McLaurin, you could trade Terry, but he's got a contract problem.
Right, right.
He's got a quad problem right now.
Well, quad problem, yeah.
Right. Also, yeah, you can't trade injured players, isn't that right? Still, like if someone's that
Yes.
injured that they can't play. All right. Well, I thought that would at least be an interesting question to ask everybody. If you're listening and you would like to send us your random crazy trade request, I don't care.
No. Send us your trade request. Come on, man. And by the way, I mean, McLaurin is tradable, from a salary cap
Technically, sure.
perspective.
Yeah.
I'm just saying it's stupid to do it. That's all.
Yeah.
Right.
Actually, didn't Debo rework his contract for the rest of the year? That made him hard to trade like mid-season. Am I crazy in thinking that? Because I know he reworked his contract, but it didn't extend it.
I thought they reworked Tunsil's contract, didn't they?
They may have done Tunsil's as well. They love to rework those contracts.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's an interesting thought. If you guys have thoughts, send it to us.
Yeah, go ahead. Send it our way. I'm in camp. I'm definitely in camp. Trade away any vet who's not part of your long-term plans. If you can get 1 6th or 7th round pick for them, it might be worth it because that future pick could be a higher potential star. Why not? Take that shot. Take bites at the apple. Isn't that what they say? More bites at the apple. So, oh man, is there anything else we wanted to talk about on the show? We went through my whole list.
I mean, it's a struggling time for this team.
It really
okay?
is. It is. All right,
I mean,
let's get back to talking about religion. I'm kidding.
Well, Fantastic Four comes out on Disney Plus next week, so we got that.
Oh, does it?
Yeah.
Oh, something comes out tomorrow that I can't remember what it was now. I was very excited. Then I realized I got to go.
Surely nobody's excited about Fantastic Four on Disney. Are you kidding me? No.
Why not? Why not?
I don't support Disney, number one, and it's a
Well, that's
superhero
fair.
movie, number two. So I will
I-
not. Afraid I have to boycott that.
I do agree with not supporting Disney on general principle that they're too
I have
big.
a feeling the reason you and I are probably dramatically different, but at
Right.
least we're on the same side of the basic
Right,
question.
right.
Well, see, the beauty of it for me is I don't pay for Disney. I have the login from somebody else, so I go in there and I go watch my Marvel movie, and I don't pay Disney a single dime.
Fair
Oh,
enough.
I remember what weird, shitty movie is going to be out. It's the new Jurassic World movie with what's her face in it?
Scarlett
Okay, you're gonna
Johansson,
put
right?
everybody to
Yeah.
sleep if you talk about that movie.
Scarlett Johansson. Yes, she's going to be because they won't let that franchise die. It had one good movie, and we just got to keep going with it.
Yeah, pass.
Yeah, yeah. Um,
Wait, you didn't like the one woman being carried by the
pterodactyl.
pterodactyl and then the one coming out of the water and eating them both? You don't like that?
I mean, I thought it was funny, but you know, yeah, no. Look, those movies are all better than Jurassic Park 3. I'll give them that. I will give you that dignity of saying all those movies are better than the worst Jurassic Park movie.
I think we have stretched this entirely too far at this point.
All right,
We
fine.
can end 5 minutes early. It's fine.
All right, guys. We will talk to you all next week.
Yes, we will.
All right. Later.
All right.
Later.